in the golden twilight of the Sahel, where the harmattan winds sang ancient songs and the sun cast long shadows over the land, there lived a princess unlike any other. Aisha of Zazau was as sharp as the desert falcon's talon and as bold as the roaring lion. Stories of her wit and courage were whispered from village to village, but it wasn't until the night the wind carried whispers of doom that her legend truly began. One evening, as the villagers of Zazau gathered around the baobab tree to share tales and laughter, a strange silence descended upon the land. The winds, once playful, grew heavy and cold, carrying an eerie warning. The Red Riders are coming. The Red Riders were ruthless raiders who left nothing but ash and despair in their wake. They swept across villages like locusts, burning crops, destroying homes, and enslaving the people. Word spread quickly, Zazau was their next target. The elders convened, their faces drawn with worry. The warriors were strong, but they were few. The crops had been sparse that year, and the villagers had little to offer as tribute. Desperation hung thick in the air. But amidst the fear, Princess Aisha stood tall. "We will not flee," she declared, her voice steady and commanding. "We will not fight them with brute strength, for they are many. Instead, we will use the wisdom of our ancestors and the spirit of our people to protect Zazau." The elders exchanged doubtful glances, but Aisha's resolve ignited a flicker of hope. "What is your plan, child?" asked her father, King Idris. "Give me 3 days," Aisha replied. "And trust me." The first day, the desert illusion at dawn, Aisha gathered the women and children to the edges of the village. With clay and dye, they painted intricate patterns on rocks and tree trunks, creating strange symbols that looked like the work of spirits. The villagers scattered shards of mirrors and beads across the sand, making the ground glitter as if enchanted by unseen forces. By the time the sun set, the village appeared otherworldly, cloaked in a shimmering, eerie glow. The second day, the whispers of the ancestors. Aisha instructed the village griots, keepers of songs and stories, to prepare haunting melodies. Using hollowed calabashes and gourds, they created instruments that mimicked the mournful cries of spirits. That night, as the Red Riders camped nearby, the winds carried the eerie songs to their ears. Some of the raiders claimed they heard voices calling their names, warning them to turn back. The raiders grew uneasy, but their leader, a man as cruel as he was arrogant, dismissed their fears. "Spirits," he scoffed. "Superstitions of weak minds. We march at dawn." The third day, the Queen of Fireflies. On the final day, Aisha prepared her boldest move. She instructed the villagers to light hundreds of small lanterns and attach them to baskets carried by trained hawks. As night fell, the hawks soared into the sky, their lights flickering like 1,000 fireflies. Aisha herself rode out to meet the Red Riders, dressed in flowing white robes that shimmered in the moonlight. She carried a staff carved with the symbols of Zazau's ancestors. As she approached their camp, the fireflies danced in the sky behind her, creating an ethereal spectacle. The raiders froze, their weapons clutched tightly. To them, Aisha appeared as a spirit queen, accompanied by the ancestors themselves. "I am Aisha of Zazau," she declared, her voice ringing clear in the desert night. "Turn back, for this land is protected by forces you cannot comprehend. If you do not heed my warning, the wrath of the spirits will consume you." The leader of the Red Riders laughed, but his men were visibly shaken. Suddenly, one of the lanterns burst, its light flaring brilliantly before fading. Then another. The griot songs rose in intensity, and the wind howled through the camp. The raiders panicked. Some fell to their knees, begging forgiveness. Others mounted their horses and fled into the night. Even the leader, now pale with fear, turned and galloped away, leaving Zazau untouched. The dawn of peace. As the first rays of sunlight broke over the horizon, the villagers gathered around Aisha, their cheers ringing across the desert. Her plan had worked, the Red Riders were gone, and Zazau was safe. From that day on, Aisha was not just their princess but their protector, the guardian of Zazau's spirit. Her story spread far and wide, a tale of courage, wisdom, and the unyielding strength of a people united. And when the Harmattan winds returned, carrying their ancient songs, the villagers would say they could hear Aisha's name whispered among them, a reminder that even the fiercest storms could be calmed by a brave heart.